Let's take a look at some information and charts on REN for Brave New Coin. So REN falls under the wrapper category, where REN has the ability to essentially make BTC or any other coin able to connect with other networks. They call it inter-blockchain liquidity. And as long as REN is connected with Binance Smart Chain, for instance, you can mint REN BTC for ETH, for Binance Smart Chain, for any future chains they decide to implement. But you could think of it as a type of atomic swap. It's more in the wrapper category. It makes it usable on another chain. And the benefit to something like REN is it doesn't require KYC, AML, like something comparable to REN, wrapped BTC, WBTC does. So that may or may not be legal in various jurisdictions. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just here to tell you this is what it is and this is what it does. So it goes through a dark pool, and dark pools require essentially a master node of 10,000 REN, and it gets minted through those dark pools. And they have listed here the various exchanges or partners involved with REN. If we look at the REN VM command center, you can see the TVL, the bonded REN, circulating mint on Ethereum versus Binance Smart Chain. So both of it is going in the correct direction in that it's increasing, it's up and to the right, it's not necessarily stagnating. You can see the breakdown here between the values minted. Most of it is BTC, Filecoin, Doge, some Zcash, Digibyte, BCH, Luna. But for the most part, it's a BTC show. You're going to be minting REN BTC in order to use it in DeFi, in the DeFi ecosystem, if you're not minting wrapped BTC, for instance. And we can look at all the dark nodes. There's currently 1750 registered, which calculates to about 17% of the total network. So I guess it's 100,000 REN. I thought it was 10,000 REN, but it's 100,000 REN. So this is part of the supply-demand lockup, the classic proof-of-stake model. They do get fees. The pools get fees for minting the REN as well. So interesting concept, useful concept, has a use case. Over time, TVL has sort of peaked late February, dropped off since then. And REN BTC in circulating supply has dropped off since October 2020, actually, at least locked in REN VM. Now we can compare circulating REN BTC to WBTC, and it looks like the market has pretty much decided that overall wrapped BTC is the way to go, at least for most of the big players. Currently, it's about 6% of total wrapped BTC is REN BTC, 93+% is WBTC. So I suspect if this were flipped, REN, the price chart would look a lot different. If REN was more popular for wrapping assets versus WBTC, then the value of REN would likely increase. Now, if they go multi-chain, if they go multi-coin, whatever REN can do to sort of outcompete WBTC, the better for price. If we look at transaction counts for REN, certainly sitting at multi-month lows, nothing too exciting here. And in general, you're probably not going to see a massive increase over time in transactions unless there's continuous minting going on, continuous cross-chain activity, that sort of thing. Transaction values are essentially flat since February, along with price, which hasn't really done much of anything. Active addresses are also down considerably from those highs. This was February again. So as the mintings cooled off, active addresses cooled off for the token, prices have cooled off as well. So all of this goes hand in hand. And if we look at NVT, inverse metric of economic utility, NVT has remained flat as prices are coming down in the market cap. On-chain activity for REN itself has also declined. So you don't expect too much here from NVT. In general, the on-chain metrics certainly reflect what's happening on-chain with price. If we flip to technicals, we have the 183, this is the half year, MA in the green. This is 5 times that MA in the red. And I've been using these for a lot of charts recently because we are pushing all-time highs or have been pushing all-time highs. So it's good to have some sort of idea of where price is overbought, at least objectively. So this is basically using mean reversion principles, saying it's unlikely we get X percentage above some long-term MA. Now this will have to be adjusted depending on the coin, but for REN, I like the backtesting here. It's picked the highs decently well. Currently that's somewhere around 340, 350, and we're closer to the bottom of this moving average multiplier than the top. So although this looks less and less bullish by the day, based on these high time frame MA multipliers, it's getting closer to a buy zone than a sell zone. So we're still pointing up on this metric. So it's not a bear market, but when we get down near this level, sub 86 probably, that's when you want to see a buyer start to step in, right? That's when you or me as a buyer, based on this metric, would start to step in. This is the buy zone, this is the sell zone. Looking at the cloud, it's currently below the cloud, so the trend metrics aren't really on your side. On the daily here, it has a history of snaking in and around the cloud before breaking up, and it looks like it's on that journey currently. So it's also safe to just, if you're not going to buy the lows, just wait it out, wait for this cloud to flip bullish again, wait for those trend metrics to be more favorable again. Here's the 50 and the 200 on the daily with RSI. RSI is not going to really help you too much. It is in this downward channel. It's tapped the 200-day moving average once already, but again, it has a history of sort of snaking in and around it or tapping that 200-day moving average multiple times. So not too concerned with where this sits. You just have to be patient with REN based on what it has happened historically if you are trading a coin that looks like this. So for me, the 200-day moving average bids are still safe. It'd still be a place where I'd look to get into the coin if I wanted to do so. Against BTC on the REN BTC chart, it's also bearish below the 200. Below the cloud, definitely doesn't look like it did in 2020. It's done essentially a lot of nothing in 2021 and late 2020. It's just flat down. So again, unless this is above the cloud or above the 200-day moving average, it's hard to be bullish on a chart that looks like this. And the buy zone is probably closer to this local low than it is at price currently. Then if we look at REN ETH, it's actually surpassed that low equivalent, right? So if you're buying here on the REN ETH pair, you would have gotten bulldozed at this point. It's blown past that support. It's blown past both VPVR supports and looks like it's potentially headed to this last VPVR support. Here, not quite a bullish div on RSI just yet, and trend metrics are definitely telling you this is a bear market for this pair. Mean reversion would take you back to 50,000 whatever the ETH equivalent of sats is. But this definitely doesn't look like a buy here for me unless you're looking to take a knife stab in the dark at some rotation trades. So overall, REN provides a useful service. It's got master nodes that collect fees based on minting. Its goal is privacy and sort of skirts or avoids KYC AML. And based on competition, it currently has very little market share relative to WBTC. And that may suggest the high capital individuals are avoiding it for a reason, such as Alameda or whoever else. Three Arrows Capital, the people with a lot of activity in the market. Technicals for the USD pair look neutral and approaching a buy zone. Technicals for the BTC and ETH pairs both look bearish. And in general, is a pretty big wait and see type of setup across the board. Lastly, I'll mention the non-custodial portfolio management tool on Enzyme.finance. So I trade this ETH-BTC fund and this DeFi portfolio. How this works is you can deposit ETH or USDC into a smart contract, and then I have the ability to make trades with those funds. You can see AUM, performance, allocations, all the trades I make and where and when. You can see deposits, withdrawals. So this isn't a Roach Motel, one way in, no way out. You don't pay gas fees for any of the trades, but you pay gas fees on the way in and the way out of the smart contract. REN is currently in the DeFi portfolio, currently has a 7% allocation. And like I said, overall, I'm not too worried about the specific REN USD pair. until it starts breaking mega lows on the USD side of things. So that's all I have for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.